I don't remember it sounding so like fast paced. Anyway, was it tacos or yes? I don't know what you're talking about. You mean the reason for the delay? I had to do stuff with the dogs, like give them a snack and take them out and stuff, which takes a while. So there was no point in starting stream until after they were good. But yeah, we got kitty socks on today. This is what we worked on last time, I think. We redesigned it around using boilers. It produces half as much, which makes sense, but it can do it if we want to do Gleba first. So I don't know if that's a reasonable choice, but it's a lot easier to scale up Gleba than it is to scale up Fulgora. So seems viable. Because honestly, Gleba, scaling that up only takes like 2 extra ag towers, and the rest of it's basically free. And it's not hard to connect 2 more ag towers. So I feel like larger Gleba to make up for it getting done a little bit later is fine. I don't like how little this produces, but I mean it is pretty consistent, and it doesn't need to prime itself with like 100 solid fuel before it gets any electricity. There might be like some wiggle room to make this run a little bit faster. Also, it's a little bit kind of messy. But ever since we added like a dedicated assembler here, this is not set up properly. Ever since we added, hopefully, the correct dedicated assembler, it runs a lot better. Although now I'm questioning it now. But yeah, having these to scrap stuff should be pretty nice. It's so funny that I spent like an hour troubleshooting power issues the other day when we last worked on this, only for me to realize it wasn't connected. Or no, not, yeah, it wasn't, this wasn't connected to this, which meant it was filtering out everything like ice. So we were scrapping, let's see, we would have gone ice from these 3, and that's it. So we were scrapping about 70% of our power the entire time, which is not great. I also worked on this, which doesn't work, but it's fun. So I wanted to show it off. But yeah, it doesn't, strictly speaking, function. It would need some modifications to make it work, I think. But the problem here is that there isn't actually enough, is throughput the right word? Kind of, I guess flow rate. It is a throughput issue, but it's dependent on like the volume of the levels. I guess flow rates sounds a little bit better. Like it's not a max throughput problem. It's a throughput problem at low values of fuel, I guess is a better way to put it. But basically, when the pipe is more empty, things fill it faster. When it's full, things fill it slower, and vice versa. When it's empty, it gets emptied a lot slower. Which is why when you do a mixed fluid design, you have to have like a whole lot of pumps, you know. We wouldn't filter it out like that, but you know, if we were filtering out like light oil, we would need to have multiple light oil pumps. Even though one could technically do it on average, it doesn't because of how much the flow rate drops. So you run into that. I was hoping the internal buffer of these would be high enough that it wouldn't actually matter, but it does. This can only run at about, I think this can only run at about half speed. If you give it an electric energy interface and then tell it to start consuming, we should be good. Okay. But yeah, basically you can see like it kind of works. Like it gets a burst of stuff, but then it's very slowly draining. Like as you can see, it's already backed up with like 2,000 light oil before stalling. And then it'll eventually empty, and now it does only heavy oil. And then it does only petroleum, which would be fine if the internal buffers are higher, but the internal buffer of these is only about 1 second of crafting. So it didn't end up working out. I think I would need probably the internal buffer to be 2 seconds of crafting for it to work. We are doing steam power on Fulgora, with obviously a little bit of solar power to prime it, but we shouldn't need a ton. But yeah, I guess we don't technically need... Yeah, we need solar power, but we can ship over like ice instead too. Actually, we don't need solar power to prime it. We can just use electricity. I wonder if those prime it fast enough. We need something to prime the boiler. But yeah, this is a cursed power plant design I made. Doesn't work as well as it thought, as I thought it would. I just really hope the internal buffers would be more significant. You need a decent amount. The problem with Fulgora is that it's very hard to scale it up. So I guess, like, you're right, you don't need a lot of it numerically, but it's really hard to produce at any kind of decent pace. So it feels like you need a lot. It's like, even though you only need like 4,000 total or something. I want to say like 3,000 total. When you're only producing like 1 per second, maybe 2 per sec. Actually, not even that. When you're only producing like a third of a science per second or like 0.2 science per second, it feels a lot worse. Because like this right here would still take like 3 or 4 hours to produce all the science I need, I think. So the goal is to do it early, and that way the time it takes doesn't matter too much. Because basically, here's the choices we have, right? I can produce 5 of these. But yeah, Fulgora's science is just very, very slow to produce. Like, even if you don't need a lot of it, you need a lot of... You are limited by so many different things, and you have to scale them up together that you can't really... You can't really use the spare resources you got from one to help the other, if that makes sense. Like, you're limited by water, batteries, and holmium ore. So, like, literally none of those can be improved without shipping stuff in. Like, there's no way to improve either of those outside of prod modules. But prod modules have the problem of consuming more power, so then you're water limited. You can hook them up. They just work at less efficient. They're just less efficient. They're the same efficiency as using two steam engines. They just run slower than they would if, you know, you had actual hot steam. But, like, it's a space thing. It saves 3 tiles on the side. So it's literally just, it's equivalent to this exactly, but it's a little bit easier to set up and a little less space. So it works, it just caps it at 1.8 megawatts. Yeah, exactly. You're always water limited. And the things that I would do to make myself less holmium limited, surprise, surprise, use a whole lot of water because prod modules are expensive. So then you have like another thing. Because like if we had prod modules in every chain, every step of the chain, we can actually get about we can get about 0.4 science per second if we could have this fully prod moduled like I originally wanted. But the only way to do that is to use heat towers, where you get 2.5 times more power out of the same amount of water, I think. Actually, it might not be 2.5. It's 2.5 times more fuel. I think it's only 2 times more water efficient, but it's still pretty close. But I don't think it's like a 1-to-1. I don't think it's one. I don't think it's the same ratio as the fuel power ratio. Lightning rods don't help. They do help a little bit, but if you rely on lightning rods, you start to need like a couple hundred accumulators at least. So like I could use lightning rods. They do allow me to get more power. The only problem is you need a lot of accumulators. So if I wanted to make my original design work, which should be this one, roughly. That was the original design. Let's see. There it is. I can go wherever. This didn't even work. This needed like another 100 accumulators to work consistently. And you also need to prime it with about like 50 to 100 solid fuel. So yeah, it kind of helps. I don't know for sure which is like the better option. Because like it's not necessarily a bad thing to have to need this many accumulators. I'm not entirely sure how hard it is going to be to scale accumulators. So I want to test the design that's easier to build first, and if it turns out accumulators are dirt cheap and we don't care about them at all, then we could try a more expensive design that gives us more per like holmium ore. Also, this ore is technically spawned in. I've tested it on the regular patches. It works about as well. Because once you get prod bonuses, it kind of balances out. Because we don't have all the mining product bonuses we'll have during the actual run, I don't think. But yeah, this is our Fulgora plant. We swapped over to boiler power, used a lot more efficiency modules. Did you know it is Friday? I did. Did my title not update for you or something? Did I say something? I'm not sure. Sometimes I don't update my title. It feels like a Sunday. Oh, okay. I was worried since sometimes I forget to update stuff a lot. Well, no, it's not that I forget to update stuff a lot. I don't always click update title before I click start to stream, which messes with like the caching for a lot of people if they click on it fast enough. Accumulators are not cheap. You think your casual base are used about the same rate as Holmium? Oh yeah. No, if you're using them for science, you're pretty much using all of them. But I feel like it would probably only take like 15 minutes for you to get enough accumulators to like run everything. So like they're not cheap, but while everything else is getting set up, I could also be making accumulators, and it probably won't add to the cost. So like they might be more available than I'm thinking. We could also buffer batteries. I don't know if that would help. Sushi belts, Pog. Do you also do sushi pipe? In some places, yes. I do have sushi pipe in a couple spots, which we need to figure out. I don't have sushi pipe here because that requires pumps and circuit logic, which don't tend to work well when your power is very sporadic. So I'm not going to put that kind of like circuitry on it to regulate, you know, the fluids that could keep my base alive. But we have, we make this sushi pipe work or sushi belt work by doing random destruction, basically. Anything that is backed up too much on the belt gets sent to this little spot. These are the output selections, and they can all be scrapped at any point. It just randomly cycles between them every single tick. So that way some inserter somewhere is going to be able to grab it. And then Novice, I believe we use sushi pipe for this. Now, I wasn't able to get this to work consistently, so we are going to mess around with this and see why I cannot get it to work without a buffer tank. Because, I mean, Glassbricks has gotten it to work very consistently without having an input bottleneck, but I have not. So we're not going to save this. We're going to switch over to NE4. It was going to be this weekend, but I have stuff going on, so I can't actually do, like, I can't devote a whole day. So hopefully next weekend instead. I haven't checked my schedule for next week. But the plan is for next weekend. But it was supposed to be tomorrow. Or it was supposed to be Sunday. It was supposed to be Sunday, but then I realized I have stuff I have a party I have to go to. And yeah, I can't do like a whole, because it's going to be like probably 8 to 12 hour window I have to dedicate, because we're not practicing at all. I don't know how long it's going to take. We're just doing the rough designing. Also, if anyone hasn't seen it, I show it off every time. This avoids fluids. It just cycles a recipe every other tick. So 30 times a second, it voids 20 fluid, I think, which is the maximum input of the pipe, I'm pretty sure. 1200 per second, and it's 20 per tick. So I think it's up to 600 fluid per second, just gets voided. Because ideally it tries to put them back where it came from. Huh, that was weird. That was really weird. Okay, so undo can't undo rotations? I did not know that. But yeah, I think it's really neat. If there's room in the input, it goes back into the input whenever you change recipes. But because this is a one-way valve, it doesn't work that way. And the logic on this is just void if it's full, just so we don't void stuff we actually need. But it works really well, because I don't think there's any real reason to set up cracking in an any%. Yeah, there's also that hacky way, but that one can't be automated. So you can't. It's not super useful. Or it's less useful in like this kind of run. But yeah, that one's a fun little trick. But there's no way to automate that one, sadly. See, this one seems to be working fine. Do I have this one set up differently? Oh, I have speed mods in these. I mean, that's technically fine, actually. Oh, is it? It might not be fine. I don't know what the internal buffer is. $200. Also 200. Internal buffer of fluid machines doesn't depend on crafting rate? Really? Okay. Another fun trick is that biter eggs don't spoil in spawners. Yeah, that one's fun. To just only extract stuff as you need it. Although it's also fun to just spawn creatures indiscriminately and just accept it. Why do I keep pressing that button? Oh, I'm holding down shift. I was holding down shift to like force override and it wasn't working. See, now it's working. Oh wait, that's gonna break though. I mean, I guess we can try pasting it a few times, see if we can get it to work consistently. But I've had so many issues where just the sushi doesn't work. I guess we can keep that. I mean, yeah, that's technically fine. Yeah, we need to make sure this is in fact consistent before we base our whole. Actually, we don't necessarily have to know if it's consistent. It's just we can save having to set up some logic if we can get it to work consistently. On your last run, Grievin was just a constant war zone due to pintbot egg spawning like 100 a minute or so. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's a lot. Wait, why pintbot eggs? I feel like those ones aren't as tricky to like get rid of as like biter eggs. But I like it. What am I looking up? Infinity pipe. It's already there. Oh, and pump. Okay, I'll include a pump here. I don't think it matters, but we'll try it. So one of these needs to be water. This needs to be filtered to water. This needs to be filtered to oil. We'll read from these. We'll remove all of the speed modules, I think. Wait, are they reading from different spots? No. So I have no idea how this copied like that. Huh. Wait, how did I pull that out? What button was that? Oh. I didn't know there was a shortcut for that. Okay. There. Because you weren't bothering off my stuff and overbuilt. That's fair. There's always the lazy option of just voiding everything. Like just have the eggs go through, and if they're not consumed, just burn them immediately. Then you don't have to worry about it. Of course, then you're at risk of, everything dying and stalling. But, at least you don't have a tax. Probably not a fair trade-off, though. Also, these are reading, not including crafting, so this should be like 320. No, sorry, this one should be 85 times 2, which would be 170. And this would be oil times 2. Oh, that was weird. Times 2. There we go. Void all the stuff with guns. Oh, that is basically voiding. You bring up a good point. Very, very effective voiding. 85. But yeah, we need to figure out what was going wrong. I wonder if it's finicky about which input is which. Probably not. No, I can't imagine that's important. We could always test it. You didn't care enough to fix it, so you got your stack inserters and you're out. That's fair. That's very fair. Like, if you can maintain it by just constantly being attacked, why bother making any significant changes? You just roll with it. It's like you get what you need and you're done. Tesla turrets are great. I need to use them more on my Cleva. Although, I don't know. I'm not sure. I do want to go back to the other build base, but I might start a fresh one to get like the legendary achievements or something. Because I do want to play a little bit more of like just a casual run. But I don't know if I would want to start anew or continue from what we already had. Okay, so theoretically this should work. And then these are getting voided. I don't know what causes it to not be consistent. Okay, so yeah, even if this pipe is backed up, this has an internal buffer, which should be enough to clear the pipe completely. I wonder if we had, like, power bottlenecks. I wonder if power bottlenecks... Like, I wonder if being low on power could somehow cause a problem. Yeah, like, this is just working perfectly fine. If we speed mod all of it, it probably still works perfectly fine. Although it starts to back up a little bit. Just because it's, going a little bit too fast for the pumps I have, but it still has an option to be sped up. As long as you have them all sped up equally, you can use speed modules for the most part. You just have to make sure you have enough outputs. But then there's also this option. Now, if we do this, it allows us to do a better buffer, so times 1.5. I like how I don't have to do math. And if we read from more of them, I think on average it works a little better. To the point where if you read from all of them, it works pretty flawlessly. I'm not entirely sure. Whoa, look how fast these are changing. Oh wait, that's because we're running at times 32 speed. I was like, wow, those change every tick. That's cool. But no, we are just making the ticks go 30 times faster. Yeah, I don't know what it was. Is it weird if you connect it from, like, over here, maybe? We'll ignore that part. And then it connects to this input. And now we need to void it, because we actually connected without logic initially. No, it still seems to work even if they connect from different ways. I have no idea. Like, it obviously is not perfectly consistent to build if those kinds of mistakes can be made and cause problems, but I don't know. I don't know what the mistake was, because we kind of just deleted it in a run that I can't, that I no longer can do a replay on because I changed mods and updated it, so there's no ability to replay through it. So I will never really know what didn't work about it. But this seems to be fine, so I guess we don't need any kind of logic. Now I'm curious, though. It supposedly works sometimes if you just don't have any logic. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. It seems too flimsy. It's way faster to build. Because it means you never have to set up advanced oil, you just have to set up 2 pumps, which is a lot faster than building advanced oil, I think. It's not a huge benefit. Obviously, runs that are more oil limited and have to rely on advanced oil are nice, but not having to space out an advanced oil setup when all it costs is like 2 extra pumps, well, I guess like 12 extra pumps, it seemed worth it. It's hard to say, but we're currently in the phase right now where I think scratching any ideas that just seem like they might not work perfectly is really dumb. I feel pretty strongly that every idea should be explored, even if you think it has any advantage. I think it's worth exploring. Because I see a lot of like debates or ideas being like thrown around, and then someone just being like, "Oh, it doesn't look like it has a benefit here." When we are literally like 1.5, we're what, 2 months? 2 months into the expansion release, there's been like 2 total runs, and people are already like making statements like some strategies just aren't worth it. I don't know. I feel like we need to try even the silly ideas like this to see if they are faster set up or work well. I don't think it's flimsy, though. I wouldn't describe it as flimsy. It might be harder to set up these pumps than I'm thinking. But it seems pretty robust, considering I can't reproduce it breaking. Is it a problem if fluids back up or no? Well, yes, but they shouldn't. They shouldn't back up is basically the vibe there. Everything completely breaks if fluids back up. But that's not supposed to happen. We need to make sure this is set up right, though. Okay, so these should actually have separate logic. So I want to do 320. I don't want to do 320, do I? It was 170 times 1.5. No. 340 times 1.5. And this one was 255. Okay, so I think that worked a little bit better. A little bit better. And then we no longer need the inputs. Yeah, next weekend, hopefully. We'll see if it actually works, but it should be fine. I wonder if the side it outputs into matters. I feel like it shouldn't, but it also feels like it does matter. Why are the inputs a problem? Or outputs a problem? Oh, I just didn't expand this enough. Once I added the speed module, once I added the modules, there you go. That should fix it. But yeah, the fluids shouldn't back up significantly. There might be some problems with it. Do we have rate calculator? One pump is technically enough for the inputs. I wonder if that's close enough. You feel like the time to make statements of absolute facts isn't early in the meta. Exactly. No, you're so right. We need to make absolute statements immediately. So that way we don't waste time on them. Also, I realized I need to grab my phone. It's not next to me. Or on, actually. Okay. Now it's good. This is the only way to set up fluids. No possible doubt about it. Exactly. You want to go back to like the old design where you had like a gap in between the machines? Too bad. This design is better. You have to use it. If you aren't even doing Frankly's RCU build, what are you doing? True. Especially in a run like this. If we don't use the RCU build in our 2.0 space age any %, does the record even count? I mean, sure, it won't produce any RCUs, but you have to build you have to build it regardless. Oh, we just don't have enough oil. Okay. Well, that explains so much. Yeah, this only produces 350 oil. What the heck? Is oil that limited? I did not realize that. Also, I think I rotated something, but I don't know what. Okay, there we go. So that's why it wasn't running full speed. So what would 237.8 trees be? Is that 237 trees chopped and one of them shot with a pistol like 4 times? That would be my guess. Also, this does seem to be working without the input logic, so I mean, we'll just roll with it. It seems fine. I didn't realize we were missing so much oil, though. I might have to grab this patch. Oh, we also have this design, which I did not do as sushi, specifically because I was lazy. So I guess we are testing both in the same run. Oh, you know what it is? This is a power plant design. So if this breaks, a lot of stuff goes wrong. So like this doesn't affect anything other than plastic, but it doesn't kill my base. This was something that I'm like, you know what? Let's stress test this design first before I put the entirety of the power plant on it. So that's why this one's a normal design. I would prefer to just be able to copy this one, But we definitely we want to make sure this holds up in an actual run first before I put too much faith in it. But this is my power plant. I really like it because you can just kind of copy it and expand it as needed. It tessellates really well. I don't remember why. I think it tessellates every 6. Yeah. But yeah, this power plant design's really cool. It's really easy to expand. One of those trees on the... Ah, one of the dead trees. Nah, that makes sense. Okay, we have a to-do list. It's not a significant to-do list. Let's see. Rocket turrets built manually in space players. Okay, a lot of this stuff is just hand-built in space. We just need to go through. Only 200 burners per water pipe. Yeah, only 200 burners. Well, it's not even just per water pipe. It's 200 burners per offshore pump. There's no limit to the pipe throughput anymore. Now, there is a length limit. That is something I do have to be aware of. We can't make it longer than 100 boilers. But we can add as many as we want within what would be this big of a square. So we can have, like, I think 1.5 or 2 gigawatts like this. Hello, Bep. Welcome, welcome. What even is 200 burners per water pipe? How much power is that? That's like 400, right? Or something like that. Or 3,600? 360? Yeah, 360 megawatts. Yeah, that might be all we need. Imagine if the lake ran dry. It totally should. we need a mod that replaces water with fluorine vents. There we go. Because we clearly, they've showed that you can make a finite value on oil pumps. So if you just replace the lake with a bunch of these, it's basically the same thing. I don't think it would actually affect the run much, but I mean, it is something you could do, I imagine. And then you would have to have condensers to make it that you don't actually just waste all of it. Ooh, or rainfall. Every so often, there's a storm that refills the lake a little bit. Oh, I think we need to work on ships. Oh, actually, does anybody have a vague understanding of how the awful ship design works? If anyone of these seen like the default anti-elites' strategy, or Dalvis, I think it was Dalvis's strategy originally, for how to get to the outer edge, or whatever it's called, system edge. Because it's my understanding of it is that it's very cursed, and you have to actively play for like the last like 10 minutes, but it means you don't need railguns, which is tempting. I don't know if it would be worth doing on this run, just because I want to be able to do it without having to lose. I don't want to risk losing the run right away. I just want to get the run in. So it is tempting, but I also kind of don't want to turn it into a quick time event. But I am curious how it works. Because basically the idea is that you have a ship, and then while you're in transit... Wait, what is this? Why is this waiting for ammo? Can we take this to Novice? No, you're on Novice. Why are you broken? Why are you broken? Why can't I replace you? I'm confused. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that works. Water as a resource. Is it actually a mod? Water bodies get removed and replaced by solid. Okay, so it just like drains for the edge. That's really funny. Oh wow, that was 6 years. That was 6 years ago. That was before 1.1. 1.0. Right? I mean, it was updated, but that's been around for a while. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why I don't necessarily... That's why I don't necessarily want to do, like, the harder strategy. Obviously, this is not the ship we'll be taking. I'm just curious how it works, because it has something to do with... You see a huge asteroid, you stop your ship, and somehow that destroys the asteroid. When you start not moving, and it just kind of voids it. I don't really know. And then you just continue on. So then you don't need railguns. You just need the rocket turrets. And then every time you see a big railgun, you just stop running, and then the ship gets... and then you continue on. And at any percent asteroid settings, it might even be more viable because, well, you'd have less asteroids. Yeah, they despawn if you aren't moving. I'm just wondering, like, how much of a window you have for timing. Because it could either be incredibly easy or very difficult. I feel like it's probably not that hard. This ship is great. This was my casual ship. It is very much dependent on... It's dependent on internal buffers to some degree. Although... we eventually upgraded it so it could mostly make the ship trip across the edge without any buffers. But it is very, very much dependent on like epic quality or above machines. So it doesn't work too great to try to expand, improve it, or use it for a speed run. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with spaceship designs in the casual run. We also made like a hammerhead, and then like kind of like a hammerhead shark kind of thing, which I really liked. Then we should have inserter. Legend? We don't have a blueprint of burner inserter to legend. That's unfortunate. I had one that was in the shape of an inserter, which I really liked. It was a really bad ship, but it was great. Mostly because when you try to make the ships have cool designs or give them a fun shape, you tend to make it a whole lot slower, and it uses a whole lot more fuel to move slower. And you don't really have any benefit other than its design. It was worth it, but we had to make they were some bad ships, functionally speaking. But yeah, we need to come up with, let's see, starter science. Let's see, science platform. Because I think we have everything we need on the planets. Probably. I don't know, I could be forgetting something, but I feel like we have everything. We'll be shipping up bricks, we'll be shipping up holmium, heat towers we automated. For some reason, we don't really need them automated. We need like 3 of them. I might just handcraft them somehow. And then what else? Cryo chambers. I don't remember the cryo chamber recipe. Those are made in an assembler, I think. Actually, they might be made in my pocket. I'm not entirely sure. Cryogenic plant. Close enough. That uses... okay. Superconductors. I don't think we are requesting superconductors from Fulgora. We are not. Okay. Now, we don't need a ton of them. We need, like, I think 1 shipment. We need less than 1 shipment, but we do need a shipment of them. At some point. Wait, what was that? Thought I heard a sound. I don't know. Probably nothing. But yeah, we do need a way to get these off the planet. We don't need supercapacitors, do we? Those aren't needed for anything. Let's see, what's a plasma generator take? Wait, we don't need a fusion reactor. But those also only require superconductors. Okay, and then quantum computers. Don't need them. Okay, so we just need the superconductors. Cool. I can't believe I completely forgot these. How many do we need? I guess that's a real question. Changes enable, disable to enable when for everything get connected. That is just mildly passive aggressive. You just make it be like, hey, I don't like how you worded this. Because I guess really it's just, yeah, it's only doing 1 of them. I see it. Because it's obviously not, it's not enabling it when it does that, or disabling it when it does the same condition. It's only doing 1 of them. So I guess I see it. Yeah, do we have to do math? I think we have to do math. These require none. These themselves, though, we need 7 of them, so that's 140, and then we needed 70 processors each. we want 2 railguns. So let's say we need 300. We need 300 superconductors. So I think if we just do an output, there's not a great spot for it. I could maybe put it here. At least they did something instead of complain. Exactly. It's like they had an issue with it, they fixed it for themselves. You can't really knock that. I think we just do 2 of these. Then we should be fine. And it's not going to slow science down significantly. Well, we'll just start. And then we also need a buffer for holmium. So I'm not entirely sure how we're going to do this, actually. We only needed, I want to say 400 holmium, which is 2 of these. It's like this would eventually work. It will slow science down a bit. Actually, I don't know how many we're going to have. Let's do 3. Yeah, if it slows down science, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Because we might do 3 sets of these. I feel like we need at least 2, but we might do 3. Because we can fit 3 on this island. There is a way, like, we could fit... On a small island, we could fit one of them that's like twice the size. If we get power from another island. Can we get power from another island? Probably not. Yeah, I think if we... if you double up on this, you can actually share a lot of like the infrastructure, like the power plant and stuff. You just have to pass a couple of the resources that are low throughput between the 2 belts. So you can technically make one that fits on the smaller island, but I didn't want to have to worry about that. We just decided to go to the big island because it seemed easier. I remove unfiltered items. Okay, so yeah, we almost completely forgot about superconductors. This will be set seed. Although, we'll probably change the world because this one's not that great. Like, we'll do this world the first time. Because this build is, like, mostly designed around this seed. This section is... It has to be in roughly the same spot, but obviously this build would not work on seeds that have copper in a different spot, for example, or iron in a slightly different spot. Most of the base, though, is designed around like no specific seed because it takes a lot to design like a specific... It takes a lot more time to design a base for a specific seed, and I wanted to get in a run first, see what works and what doesn't, or what I liked and what I didn't. Not necessarily what works, but just what I liked, before I spent time like trying to make like an actual specific build. If we even do that, I'm not sure. I might just want to do the one run. But it wasn't worth the time investment to make it super seed specific. Like, I know I can build this patch on a calcite next to lava, but I also know that I could build this on any calcite patch anywhere and not be that far from lava. And like, this can come from anywhere, this can come from anywhere. The only thing that's really like set seed for anything other than novice is just how far do we have to go to get belts, so that way I know how many belts to bring. Like, I know I only will need 1,000 belts for this whole thing, or less than 1,000 belts for this whole thing. Whereas if it was a random seed, I might need more. So that's pretty much the extent of what we're doing set seed-wise on other planets, like Gleba, Fulgora. Like, we're putting this directly against the iron patch, and it can go against any iron patch on any world. Just this one happened to work nicely. And now I know I need like 400 belts to get to that. Kilo... Honestly, all the Kilo islands, they look exactly the same to me. This one we made sure fits within this seed, but I imagine if we cut off like a little bit of corners or used a little bit of ice platform, it would fit on almost all of them. Fulgora is a little bit trickier. The set seed part is mostly nice because it lets us know where we're going to start with a ruin, or vault ruin, whatever they call it. It's like, I know there's a vault ruin here that we can run and get before going to our base. There might be one closer. I've actually just deconned pretty much all of the rubble. But our base itself can just go on any patch. So yeah, this is the only spot that's really set seed. The rest of it's generic, I think. And then I've seen a couple science designs. I think you're mostly... Actually, I know you can... I don't know exactly what it is. Let's see if we can recreate Phoenix's design from memory. I want to say it looks like this. And then it had two inserters or two assemblers here for science, and it had input, output, output. And then this would be a science assembler. And then the only difference is that one of these gets replaced by iron. An iron furnace. So then this would go here, here, and here. This doesn't feel exactly right. But I think it's pretty close. We could use long inserters and maybe get a little bit of extra distance. I wish that space platform worked a little bit better. But there's not much we could do about it. And then you can also save a little bit of space platform, but we're not too worried about that, I don't think, in like any percent. At least I'm not worried about it. It probably would matter in like an optimized run, but I think the time save from having to, you know, cut this kind of platform is not that significant. And then one of these gets replaced by a furnace. Now these are the wrong assembler colors. But I think, you know, we might not need this many science assemblers on 50% asteroids. So we can probably make it a little bit cheaper, because this can get enough asteroids. Oh wait, we forgot solar panels completely. Those are important, aren't they? Just a tad, right? I thought that would fit. How do I fit solar panels in here? I cannot think of where solar panels would go here. Did they go on like the far side? Is that where they went? Let's see. Can I find a picture? Yeah, that's literally all I'm missing. They go here. And then that's just something that you can copy very easily. Actually, can it go there? I think so, right? Yeah, okay. Oh my gosh, why why is editor mode so bad? Actually, I think they made an announcement of why like editor struggles with the auto placement of landfill and stuff. So it makes sense, but I don't like it. Also, can you put concrete on the space platform? I never actually tried. Are there any tiles you can place in space? No, that makes sense. But that would be cool. That would be cool if you could make it a little bit prettier. Yeah, I think this is roughly it. We would probably want to make these fast inserters instead of regular inserters, just because there's no real reason to bring two types of inserters when you can just bring one and have it not be significantly more expensive. We would need a combinator. Now, I don't like the overflow design. I'm really not a fan, so I think we'll use an arithmetic. I find it much easier to set up. It makes a lot more sense to me. And it's easier to adjust the values, especially if you don't care that much about rocket launches. It's easy enough. So with the overflow design, you just read from this, and then you output it here. And then I imagine we would also need to output these. And then could I set iron filters? Would that be a good idea? Oob, not thinking of the aesthetics of our beloved spaceships. I know, right? Like there's not a ton you could do. Imagine being able to paint the platforms or something. That would be fantastic. Although I imagine a mod could do that pretty easily, considering there's like a painted concrete mod. But you know, in vanilla, I feel like it should totally be possible. We forgot a crusher. I forgot crushers. Do we need a crusher for each resource? Or should I use a recipe? I feel like I should just use a recipe filter, right? Probably. I don't think there'd be any reason not to. Which means I think I should change... I should definitely change the inserters. I actually don't think I don't think output inserters should be limited. How is this connected? Okay. If we do input inserters instead, I think it's easy to set up. Why are these rotated? What the heck? Okay. So now if we set all of these to set recipe, or set filters, we should be good. That doesn't matter. Set filter. They're not connected to logic. Oh, if they are connected to logic, set filters bad. Okay, I did not know that. Let's see, making arrows of hazard concrete so you don't forget the way it flies or something. Yeah, that sounds so useful. You bring up such a good point. Okay, so this can output iron. Now this isn't setting the filter, so it's clearly wrong. Oh, I didn't put it to set filters. Oh. Whoops, hold on. I see the problem. I didn't put set filters on. I put I put use filters on. That makes so much more sense. Okay. That shouldn't be filtered. This one shouldn't be filtered at all. Does art have to be useful? That's that's a good point. We would probably disable this one, because instead that's getting the recipe set. So right now it's asking for iron. We want iron to be 50. We want chunks to be like 10, I guess. Where are chunks? Actually, let's do this. Chunks, asteroids, multiply by 10. That's gonna try to keep 10 of everything. That's actually way too much, isn't it? No, that's definitely way too much of everything. Let's do 5. Because we're not doing any cargo. Wish you could fly the ship in any direction, but only in one direction once it's built. Oh yeah, just so you could design like a horizontal base. Yeah, I guess there's not a huge difference between the two. Because like if you could build it horizontal, you could make a much... Your canvas would be a lot larger, which would be nice. Why is this not working? Oh, we're not reading the contents of the ship. Yeah, that's very important. Okay, there we go. That should be nicer. Okay, now the problem is this is filtered to keep a specific amount of ore in it, which is actually bad. What if I do plates and filter the output instead? Did this work? Which direction when you fly then? Right, left to right? I would imagine you could choose it. Like you just rotate the starting one. Although it probably doesn't matter that much. They could probably just do one, but it would be neat if you could go in any direction. Like you just pick a top. That's what way it goes. Unless they're doing stuff like the old Rails used to do, where they used to kind of like fake the rail distance because Factorio isn't a square, which always throws me off. Like it's kind of a square, but it's not exactly a square. It's like a little bit stretched or something. There's some weirdness to it, right? That's why Rails didn't used to be symmetrical. Also, why doesn't this work? Maybe it does work. I realize the problem. This is 100% built wrong. Why aren't we getting any water? We're on the right planet, right? We are, okay. No, we're okay. Wait, why don't I have any carbon? Oh, because it wants to crush all the water first. I guess that's fine. But yeah, we don't want to do the inputs. I completely forgot that these just wouldn't run. Okay, so we're just going to set the output filters, I think. So if we instead do input output, and what we do is we set this one manually to iron, because my idea was I wanted to make it that the iron wasn't smelted. So instead we set that one, and then all of the outputs are set to set filter, and now we can put iron here. And now those can be connected, and then I think everything works a lot better now that we actually did it properly. Set filters. Now they can all share the same filter, I think, because it shouldn't cause any problems. Because this is saying, hey, you don't need any iron, stop filling it. Now I need to see how much science this makes, because I think we can probably do 3 less assemblers. Because this is designed around having stuff. What is the... Is that not set? Oh, we don't want to get these outputs, okay. So these, we don't need anything. Oh wait, we want space science. I don't know how much we need. 500? I don't really know what the buffer should be. But yeah, I don't like setting the... I don't like the overflow trick. I think it's cool. I think it's... I'm way too bad at typing numbers for it to be worth it, though. You have to type like twice as many numbers. Which I struggle with. This is not working for some reason. What's the issue? What is the issue? What do you mean target full? Why are you not trying to set a recipe? Carbon asteroid chunks. Oh. Wait, we have to filter it for carbon and ice, don't we? Wait, do we? Okay, I see the problem. Sideways is better as screens are wider. Yeah, that was the... I think that's the general idea. Because then you could have much more visible ship. On the other hand, I feel like a lot of people make giant rectangles that look like this. So maybe it doesn't matter that much. Because like if you're making a rectangle, rectangles going either way isn't huge. Because you can very easily just do sideways and have your ship fly forward and it doesn't make a difference. On the other hand, thinner ships are faster, so you would just naturally have faster ships if it was left to right, probably, because people would probably make them thinner. Maybe, I don't know. I would imagine people would make them roughly the size of the screen, but that's not a reasonable assumption, I don't think. We're gonna tell this to trash all of them. And then for some reason, iron is not working correctly. It keeps crushing iron. Actually, is this... Maybe the filters here don't work how I thought they did. If I just send it a signal... I can go here, maybe? How do I force this to place? There we go. Let's just send it a chunk signal. What does it do? Oh! That's why it's not working. Okay. Do these need like 2 separate logics? I think I just need 2 separate logic, don't I? So if that's the case, we can just do one here. And one of them should be chunks. And that should be on its own circuit. Then the recipe setter can be something else. Yeah, I think that's fine. See, I didn't realize that... I thought that signal would tell it to reprocess stuff. I didn't realize it had any merit in setting this to crushing as well, but that makes sense because one of the outputs is itself. Okay, so those are set to keep a certain amount of resources, which is totally fine. That's being filtered properly, and then this... You know, it might be easier. Can you set this recipe? No. I could set the space science recipe assemblers, but that would just kind of waste space science, I think. I don't know, which is easier to set? I feel like the assembling machine's easier, right? Because if we tell it to set in a space science recipe, it should work. And there's nothing that Assembler can do that this can do. I like the idea of not having to filter the inserters, because the inserters seem harder to filter. For some reason. I don't know. They feel a little bit harder to filter. Maybe they're not. It probably doesn't make a huge difference. Now this would be what we keep inside, which would be iron. You can't make iron with an assembler, right? Okay, and then space science. Now this needs to be regulated as well, so what if we do like iron plates? Oops, space science. Yeah, I don't know if this... I don't know what a good way to filter these are. Space science, iron plates. Okay, that can filter out all of that junk. That's fine. Yo, what's up, Bep? So, thanks so much for the resub. Yo, 11 months. Nice. What am I missing here? Am I missing anything? Yes, I'm missing this logic. Oh, does that combines the signals, doesn't it? Yeah, that combines the signals. Darn it, that doesn't work. I think if I used a red wire, it would have, though. Let's try that. Let's try that. Okay, so we just connect these in a little circle. Output, red wire, output. So these should be separate now. Maybe. So these have a set recipe. That's good. We are currently not doing ice either. I hope there's no way to make ice elsewhere. And then we also need carbon. I don't know if I like this. This is already... This is... I mean, I guess I have a long time to set this up. Like, you can build all of this while you're making rocket components, pretty much. Actually, no, you can't. You have to launch a rocket first. I could build a lot of it on... I can't... Actually, no, I can build most of this on Novice. If I really wanted to. Do I need to regulate space science? Maybe I can just not regulate space science. Like, what do I really gain by regulating space science, right? Like, I can just buffer it on Novice and it probably won't be a problem. Also, it's just blinking because we've just been dropping it on the ground. Just fantastic. Okay, a kilo. Yeah, we have science platform. It does get a lot simpler to build if we don't buffer these. We can also skip logic entirely by just having dedicated. Well, I guess we can't skip the logic entirely, but we can reduce the logic significantly. Will I have similar 3s by this point? Also, these are running pretty much full speed. I thought we were asteroid limited here. What the heck? The logic looks complicated if we need to build it by hand. It's not that bad. It's basically just saying... filter these things out. But having to split the wires definitely isn't great. So maybe that's kind of a problem. Like, it's somewhat complicated, but it's also really easy to remember. Like, there isn't much going on, and we have like 5 minutes to do this where we can't really do anything else. So it's not as bad as it looks. If we can reuse the logic for a later ship, that's really nice. I was expecting these to be incredibly asteroid limited, though. Isn't this 50% asteroids? Is this not 50% asteroids? Because now I'm questioning everything, and that changes things a lot. That is 50% asteroids. Why is it getting so much science? Did I mess it up? Because my goal is 2 science per second. I thought this was only getting 60. Because I think it's 2... Oh wait, is it 2 science per second or 90? But I thought at default settings this only works full speed. Let's void everything in it and see what its sustained production is. Okay. Okay, never mind. It is. It is a lot lower than I. Wait, how much do these produce individually? Oh wait, this is power limited? Oh, I forgot efficiency modules. That actually might change things. Because if all of these are working at like half speed, now they might work at very low speed. Okay, now what is the space science production? This is very inconsistent. Okay, yeah, this is more reasonable. No, this is definitely more reasonable. Because this is running almost 3 times faster now in terms of how much the assembly machines are idled. Okay, yeah, this is what I expected. Actually, it's a little worse than I expected. We need larger buffers for sure. I think like 10 of each asteroid would be decent. I do like the idea of not having to do any of the crushing though, because I feel like this is an assembly speed limited. Do I need blue inserters? Yes, you need blue inserters for this one, and if you need blue inserters for this one, there's no reason not to use them for all of them. Unless you're doing the crafting by hand on the spaceship. But the blue inserters are required to make this thing work full speed consistently. And if you're just sending up the rare rock, like if you're sending up crafted resources already, blue assemblers versus yellow inserters, no real difference. Power draw is identical. Actually, blue inserters are generally cheaper than yellow inserters in terms of power. Despite what it says, they use less power per action. So that wouldn't be power saving. So if I wanted to send up iron and craft stuff up here, then it would be worth it to do yellow. But I don't know if that saves us enough launches. But yeah, that's why we're using them. This one is the only one that needs it, and since that's required, just use it everywhere. Because the iron recipe outputs a lot of stuff. Same power draw for a lesser duration of spring, right? It's more power draw for less of a duration. Because like it does take more power at its peak. It just is at its peak significantly less. Because it does have like 3 times the listed power draw, like for its peak power draw. 4 times actually, 4 times the listed power draw. But average consumption I think is only like 20 kilowatts. Actually, not 20. I don't know. I want to say it's pretty low. I think running full... Oh, wait, no. Running full speed, it's like 20 kilowatts. And running full speed, it's also like 3 times faster. Which means your average is going to be about 7 kilowatts compared to whatever a yellow inserter brings. But yeah, that's why the math works out that way, because it's a lesser swing, or a shorter swing. The peak power per item is less. Okay, so this is a more similar to what I expected, in which case we can just do a dedicated recipe and it might be easier to set up. Because at 50% asteroids, I very highly doubt we're inserter limited, which means a dedicated crusher is just easier, right? Yeah, no, a dedicated crusher is definitely easier. And that still gives me 3 assemblers, which should be exactly what I can support at this speed. I mean, obviously, crushers are more expensive than no crushers, but if I can't imagine we're going to care about the 20 LDS at this point. Unlike the burner inserter, which uses more power and swings longer. Yeah, that... So I guess it's just like, is it a linear relationship? Or not linear. Is it a direct relationship? The slower the machine, the slower the item, the more power it consumes. Okay, now in this case, I think we can remove all of these from logic. I'm surprised we still have 4 assembly machines on here. Yeah, this is more than enough then. Okay, so we're assuming no logic space science, I think is reasonable. Yeah, actually, no, that's very reasonable, because that means if we're filled up with space science, we don't need space science. So yeah, we can just buffer space science in a chest on novice, and then it's fine. I wonder if I can place... Nah, that causes some weirdness. Okay, and then this needs to be filtered to only iron. Actually, wait a minute. I think I know what we can do. Now that these aren't set to set recipe, we can do filtered inputs based on this logic now, I think. Or sorry, filtered outputs based on this logic. So now we can do iron. No, filtered outputs would be bad. No, filtered outputs would be bad because then it couldn't empty the crusher. Right? Would that ever happen? That might never actually happen. This might not. This might be safer than it feels. Okay, so now we filter... output, output, input, output. Let's see if that works. So we don't need plates. That's fine. That's not correct, is it? We forgot to filter plates. There we go. Oh no. No, I did it right. This was supposed to be output. No, they're all output. Okay. And then this has to be filtered to iron, though. Which I think is going to happen regardless. Unless... Is there any reason to direct feed? I don't think there's any reason to direct feed, right? There might be a reason to direct feed. It saves a lot of inventory space. I still have to filter the outputs, though. Do I? Yes, I still have to filter the outputs. But I don't have to have an input on this one anymore, so it's... would look like this. So yeah, if we're doing dedicated, this isn't a terrible plan, I don't think. That's no longer necessary. Actually, wait, that one is necessary. The burner only uses 9 times more power than the regular inserter while being 7% slower. Is it that high? Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. It is that big of a it is that big of a gap. It is that big of a gap. At least it's faster than it used to be. They did improve the burner inserter, so it's not as big of a gap. Oh wait. Wait, why didn't that command work? No, it did. It for some reason did not look like it responded for me. The burner inserter uses 9 times more power than a regular inserter while being 7% slower. It used to only take like 8 times the power. But it also goes faster now, so it's a fair trade-off. Okay, so this design itself is fine. So this would be filtered to... Oh, that's very easy to filter. Okay, I like that so far. Input, output. Can you filter... Wait, what happened? Do I need a chunk signal at all? Is that what I did wrong? Hold on, do I need a chunk signal? Yes, I need a chunk signal. If it never moves, then the movement speed is irrelevant and it consumes 400 watts less as it doesn't have a passive drain. Yeah, exactly. After not moving for 10 minutes, I think, it uses less power. So as long as you only have one action every 10 minutes, they're technically superior. Therefore, they're good. Okay, now that I've changed how this works, I might actually be able to keep the same logic. Input, input, output, and then we filter all of this. We filter out, and then these. This looks so bad. Yeah, we might try to change it a little bit. Maybe we make it look like this. It looks a little better. Like, I don't love the shape of it. We can make it more boxy. Wouldn't that make it worse? Yeah, that would make it worse. No. I don't think we can make it worse. I don't think we should extend them. Yeah, I haven't been able to, like, unsee that. I will say, the design I'm basing it off of, I feel like, is even more pronounced, just because they cut out, like, every gap. If we just do this, then it looks fine. No, that doesn't look any better. No, that doesn't actually look better. It's just such an efficient design. Yeah, the map view emphasizes it a lot. How do you manage efficient rocket launches? You've seen Nephrim's pace things? I don't. It is the real answer. I don't have any plans to make efficient launches because I don't care about that. I want to get a run in. Okay, maybe this looks better. Like, I know Nephrim's, like, makes a blueprint that has everything he needs in it, like, in, like, the ghost, while it's ghosting, which makes a lot of sense. Huh, why can't I delete this? Oh. That's why. I wasn't in editor mode properly. Okay, is this better? I feel like this is better, right? Kind of. Now it looks more like a pinwheel. But we also need to make sure it actually functions, which I don't think it does, which is kind of important. Actually, is it? You know, it might be fine. I think it's because we let it run unfiltered for a little bit. Let's see if it works now. It does not. It does not work. Why does it not work? Oh wait, this buffer is too high. Actually, it's fine then. Actually, no, it's not. No. It doesn't work. Does not work. That's why. Input, input, output. There we go. Yeah, so the smelter is just going straight from there. I wonder if that could cause problems. Yeah, that could cause problems. Yeah, this one needs to be manually set. I was hoping I could set this with logic. Oh, and then we need efficiency modules. Okay, this has produced nothing, which is not a great sign. Why do I need steel? I don't need steel. Thank you for reminding me that I accidentally backed it up with steel earlier when I was changing the logic around, and I never emptied it manually. Okay, so that's why we weren't getting space science. That makes so much more sense. But yeah, this should only produce like up to, I think, 45 or 50. It's not a lot, or 45 or 60, one of the two. But on 50 science, on 50% asteroids, you're kind of limited with how much you can get. Also, what's the tile cost of this? 242. That's 5 launches. That's really... Wait, that doesn't make sense. There's no way, like, the gaps I filled in added that much, right? No. Well, they added, like, 1 more launch. But it's not, like, a significant amount or anything. This doesn't work. Nah, this doesn't work. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we have to set logic on this. We can't have these with set filter. It doesn't actually function properly. Which means the faster logic is to just do that, and then we have this set to carbon less than 50. Oops, that's not set right. Ice less than 50, iron less than 50, I think is all we need to do there. With some longhand, you could save on inserters. How? Oh, space platforms. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about the space platforms. I mean, I can save out on space platforms by just deleting a lot of unnecessary tiles here. I don't want to have to micro the space platforms right now. Because I don't know if it matters. Like, a lot of designs right now have been focused on reducing launches. But, like, I feel like the launch cost is really, really small. It doesn't cost much to launch a rocket. It's like, I wonder if they're, like, if it's optimizing for the wrong thing. This doesn't seem assembler limited though. We could actually save one more assembler because I don't think we'll ever need this one on the side. Which makes me think if this goes here, we could save like one entire side, right? Like like that right there saves a lot. Yeah, we could definitely get this under 200. Okay, we're just gonna drop stuff. But yeah, I think it's not able to run more than 3 at a time. Wait, this doesn't have an input. That's probably why it couldn't run 3 at a time. Well, now we're gonna... I guess we'll undo it. I think it's fine, but I'm not... I'm now questioning everything again. Editor mode, why are you awful? Why does editor mode not work? One day I'll figure out what I'm doing wrong, hopefully. Okay, that's set to keep 10 of everything. I guess that's fine. It's not that dense, though. I like how we just get moments where we just get no science. So maybe we need a larger buffer. We could realistically do these on a separate spot. And maybe make this like 500 or 200. No, let's do 150. That's 3 stacks. And then I can make this a little smaller, like 7 or something. I don't know. Because these pack a lot better, I think. Because one asteroid is either 5 ice, 20 iron, or carbon, which I forgot to rebuild. That's not important. let's ignore that part. And then here. Carbon is less than 50, and we'll set it to the right recipe. There we go. Yeah, it's a fine enough design, I guess. Also, this now is an internal buffer, which is actually pretty significant. Actually, yeah, that's like 2 stacks of iron. That's actually really nice. Okay, so now it's getting a much more steady 60 science per minute. So now this is working at the speed it should be, so you would need 2 of these. I wonder if we can fit it all in one launch. I actually, you know what, I don't care that much. We might not matter. And then science just gets immediately dropped. If science ever backs up, that means we don't need science. I know. I don't care though. That's all there is to it. I don't think the benefit of having one crusher is worth it. It seems harder to set up the logic than it is to use just use 2 more crushers. If I was resource limited or something for the crushing, it would make more sense, but I don't think we're resource limited, so I'd rather have it be easier to build, and this is easier to build. Or the logic is easier. I mean, I don't, not necessarily easier to build, but the logic is a lot simpler. Because you don't need separate networks. Or 2 combinators. Those are pretty much the 2 options. But yeah, we originally were using a changing recipe, but I don't think changing recipes matters much. I don't think it makes a huge difference in time right now. I wish I could direct feed all of these into one assembly machine. Can you? Can you feed 3 things? Can you have 3 things directly feeding into 3 things? No, that's silly. Right? Yeah, that's definitely silly. I do know we can only afford to run 3 of them. That seems pretty straightforward, right? 0.75 per second is how many per minute? Okay, it thinks it's running this full speed. Well, now our production just is plummeting. Did I mess up something? Do we need larger buffers? I feel like we're not getting that much science out of it. We could try 100% asteroids. I don't know if that would be better or not. Like, it speeds up this section, but it slows down the late game. But speeding up this section might be more important. Have we just... Are we on the wrong planet? We are above Novice, right? We are above Novice. Yeah, it's producing, like, no science now. It's only averaging 30 a minute now. Yeah. Does it need ice or does it need water? It needs ice. Okay, I was considering sending up water barrels. I'm hoping it mellows out later, but it does not seem like it will anytime soon. What is that? Oh, they have a timer for how often you can drop stuff down. Is that new? Or has that always been there? Oh, that's only for... Oh, for automatic requests. It's timed. But yeah, it doesn't help that we have 50%. Oh, and now it seems to be fine. Oh, but then it's going to stop again. So maybe we just make the ice buffer larger than the other buffers. Because it seems to be more limiting. What? That was weird. How did I turn numlock on? You think it's new-ish? I'll take new-ish. It makes me feel a little bit better, if it's accurate. I can prod mod the... I probably could, actually. There's a recent patch where they said they wanted to stop it sending down 1 pack every second. Yeah, that's very reasonable. Because I had some issues with it clogging Gleba. Because when I was playing, Gleba dropped down carbon and calcite from space, and it just made it that it eventually got to what it needed to, but it took a bit for it to stop dropping. Just 1 calcite at a time. But yeah, we can afford prod modules up here if we really wanted to. At least for one of them. Because if we're still doing this many solar panels, we don't have as many assemblers running. Although, barely. We might need an accumulator if we really wanted to afford this. Which at that point, I think that gets too complicated. Because it also requires us to send up one more thing. I don't know, it's okay. 50% asteroids definitely hits a lot harder than I thought with the starter science. But I think we'll... average about 60, because it seems to be spiking up around there now that it's started. But it's going to stall again soon, and then everything will be wrong. Yeah, we can make 2 of these. We can even make 3 of these. If we make it that if we can do it in like a certain amount of rockets, we could just copy the auto requests and just paste it like 4 times. But I'm not sure if that would be worth it. Whoa, that is... What is this? Oh, right. Is there a way to delete these? I forgot that we were doing the test world by just dropping them onto novice. I'm not gonna fix that. We're keeping those, but that is not what I intended to do with that. We'll just ignore that. That's not the actual plan, but that does remind me we did not make cargo bays. I don't think. Actually, no, did we? Or sorry, landing pads. We did automate landing. Wait, no. Yes? Okay, we did automate landing pads. We just forgot to place a landing pad because we didn't choose where science would go, I guess. Probably here, if I'm being completely honest. That works. Just to get started, and then that will actually... Yeah, that will send very nicely to bioscience when we get there. Yeah, that should work. That should work. Did we ever end up making military? Let's see, is it on our list? No, then that makes me think I did make it. Let's see, military science pack. We have 4 assemblers at the top. Okay, yeah, that tracks. This is such a bad base. This is not a good base. Okay, and then we want to request space science up to, I don't know how much. 10,000? I feel like we should do 10,000. That seems reasonable. Because the other stuff is fine. And then just a random output. We could also buffer it in a different chest and have a smaller value, but I think with the amount of total science we need, we're not too worried about that. Okay, and then that would feed into that. We can also do bioscience here as well, so bioscience would go right next to it. Which, that's not bioscience, but you know, we can imagine. It's also not called bioscience, despite the fact that I've called it that consistently since the expansion came out, but it is called agricultural science. But bioscience just makes so much more sense. Or it just feels so much more natural. Because I really don't feel like... I know you're like planting trees, but it doesn't feel that heavy in the agriculture. It doesn't give me agriculture vibes to me. It just gives me like a bioreactor vibes more than it does like planting. Why am I doing that? This isn't 100%. There's no reason to do this. We have to do it manually. We're not going to manually drag those undergrounds. Okay, smart belts. Actually, that was on me. I don't think I can blame smart belt that time. Usually I can, but that one not so much. I'm not sure if I like this design for the labs. It does make them a little bit harder to build in the beginning. I don't think it makes them that much harder, so it should work. Now we can probably work with that. And then biolabs, once we get them, we're just going to go here. We should have a blueprint for it. Yeah, there we go. That's our biolab blueprint. Okay, and then we got this for uranium. Okay, so that... And then we also have capture bot rockets somewhere, which are hand-fed. 1 stack of bioflux, and that hopefully makes us enough. I haven't really confirmed that. I'm just assuming it's enough. Oh, we need to mess with biter settings to see if we can get them to be a little closer. But we wanted our full base first before I wanted to tune in biter settings. Because the thing is, we're keeping biters on. Because I want fast delivery. What's it called? Express delivery. I wanted express delivery. And that means we need to keep biters on to some degree. They're not going to be like powerful. They're just technically going to be there. Which means I don't want the bases to be too close because I can't destroy them. Well, I can destroy them. But I need them, but I don't want to have to destroy them to place a building there because that would require me to carry ammo. So I want them to be just outside of my border to where I don't aggro them with bots or anything. Which I think will be easy enough to fine-tune. Am I missing anything else on this planet? I feel like we got most of it. How do biter eggs recipe work with biters off? So there is a setting now that makes it that bases spawn, but biters don't. So normal any percent would definitely just have that one checked. And it makes it that worms don't spawn, biters don't spawn, and gleba guys don't spawn. But I think it is a little bit risky on gleba just because it means you don't have like a renewable source of eggs if you mess up. But you can also make it that stuff spoils 10 times slower and then it doesn't matter. Like you're never going to have a what do they call it? A stomper spawn and give you eggs. But yeah, they have this setting right here. No enemies. Then I'm pretty sure, I haven't actually checked, I'm pretty sure it makes it that demolishers don't spawn. But unfortunately, we have to defeat a demolisher with a bunch of ammo and a few gun turrets and poison capsules. The combo of that should work really well. Or we're gonna mess it up and we're gonna have to reload. We will be making quick saves. Well, they're technically allowed. They lose time, but in this category, quick saves are possible. Editor, cheat, gleba. So yeah, it should make it that there's still bases. Yeah, they just don't expand. But Volcanus is the one I'm curious about. Because I'm just going based on what somebody said. But I didn't confirm. But if I go out, it should be... Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yep, no demolishers here. I don't see any red territory on the map, so we're good. Actually, I don't know if we went farther enough, but... Far enough. Okay, that looks much better. Wow, there's like no tungsten here. But not like that matters. This is just a random seed, I think. But yeah, that looks good. Wait, where is the tungsten? Okay, there we go. I was like, wait, did I disable tungsten? But yeah, you can just turn off demolishers, which will be very nice. Not like they take a ton of effort to destroy, but it's nice not having to worry about it at all because it means I need military science earlier than I should, when realistically I only really need it once I start going to a kilo. But now I have to get it before gleba, or before Volcanus. Which actually, those are only like half an hour apart now that I think about it. Yeah, you cannot turn off Volcanus cliffs for some reason. There's like a volcanoify setting. It's definitely not called volcanoify, but you can make it seem more or less volcano-y, which probably affects the cliffs a little bit, but it didn't seem like it was affecting it enough. I think what happens is it changes the lava, which maybe destroys some cliffs. But yeah, it still is going to be a little bit annoying. So fortunately, I have a tungsten spot that I can get to without underground. Actually, I'm assuming you can always get to some tungsten without having to resort to underground belts or foundations. It affects the different biomes and how they generate, as far as you know. So is there any world where it could generate a biome that doesn't have cliffs? Or are those just in every cliff? Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my build so far. We need to get we'll probably work on it more tomorrow. I think I have to go here soon. It's a pretty slow day today, so I can't stream as long as I would like. Need to rest up. Actually, wait a minute. Is tomorrow Saturday? There might be no stream tomorrow. I'm not sure. I'll check tonight. Yeah, I was thinking tomorrow was Sunday. But yeah, I have somewhere to be tomorrow afternoon, but I don't know when in the afternoon. Which means it's either going to be right when I stream or it's going to be a couple hours before. I'll check. They haven't fully gone back to me yet on the time. So there might be no stream tomorrow, but there will be a stream Sunday where we'll finish this design a little bit. Because I don't think we're really missing anything. We just need a crafting queue more than anything. Because we have all the buildings we need, just not necessarily at a balanced ratio. See, an anti is 100% design. There was lava in the way to the nearest tungsten patch. Okay, that's terrifying. Wait, is that like is that just like a deadlock, or is there a way to get out of that? What gives you elevated platforms? Oh. Just purple science. So you would just, what, have to go to a different planet in that case? Or maybe get enough rocks? Okay, there would be other patches. Wasn't sure. I just assumed there would be like a full block. Yeah, I guess that would just be slower. Yeah, the odds of having nothing is probably pretty close to none. Yeah, I just wasn't even thinking that there were other patches. I'm just so dead set on using this patch in my any percent run because I know it's there and it works. They could have used a long inserter. Honestly, that's not too bad. Although, I don't know. Can you go over the lava? I guess if it was like one really thin gap, you could probably do it. Like that could probably be crossed. Actually, can that? Oh, does this not actually work? It doesn't look like it would work. But that would be such a fun solution. Is there anything else I'm missing, though? Like, I think this is everything, right? Other than the ship design, which, you know, is admittedly very important. No, you need an underground belt. There are small fissures that... Okay. So it wouldn't be like this thing, maybe? Okay, yeah. So if I could go over like a crack like this, I could cross it with a long inserter. That makes sense. You need an underground? I don't think an underground works. I mean, you can build an underground, but they were smart enough to realize, hey, you shouldn't be able to go into a pool of lava, which is kind of unfortunate. I guess I have a little bit of time. I might get like a rough shape in. Oh, why didn't I rename that? I'm gonna give it a name. Starter ship. Now we could convert this science platform, but I don't know if we necessarily need to. You hate what about space platform? Oh, that you can't rename it until it's built. Oh, for space platforms. Yeah, like you could definitely have like the underground just bridging the two. But visually speaking, I see why they did it. It's kind of like, you know how like you don't know what Diglett looks like underneath his head? We don't want to know what undergrounds look like below it. You hate that you can't use it. Yeah. No, I'm saying it makes sense. It from a visual standpoint, it makes sense that they have it, that you can't bridge the gap like that. Because then they would have to make a statement about what they think undergrounds look like beneath the surface. And you know what? Maybe we don't need to know. Maybe we shouldn't know that. It could be some like weird demon dimension. The undergrounds are conceptually above ground in the air. They're just not drawn that way. What? Is that how you picture it? Undergrounds go over? Now I'm not sure what they... How would they be above ground? Like here or in space? I can't picture what you're visualizing undergrounds look like. They would cover up empties if drawn above the ground because you can't change your camera. It's like a bridge. I think it is just objectively speaking not like that. What? Like it's in the name. Or do you mean like behind the scenes they function as being above? Is that what you mean, like from like an actual technical standpoint? I was thinking you were meaning like visually speaking, they would look like they go above. Digging a tunnel is more expensive than just propping a belt up above the ground with a few pieces of iron. True. Yeah, we're definitely not going for the ideal situation. Also, should we do like a cursed starter ship or should we just do a normal starter ship? I feel like we should just do a normal starter ship, right? Like, I don't think I can justify making it too weird. This could work. No, it can't. It can almost work. I would use a long inserter, though. Visually they go under, and visually everything casts a shadow at night because Factorio wants to run cheap on computers and still have graphics. Do you really think items just have a sharp shadow at night in reality? Obviously, if you have a spotlight shining on it constantly, then it makes sense. Okay. So water is straightforward enough. This would be fuel, and it would just go directly into a thruster. Now, immediately, I do not like this. I already do not like this. But I mean, it does work very, like, it is very clean. You get what he says? It's like the tunnels that go through mountains. It's underground, but basically above the ground. I think that's what I was thinking at first, but I don't think that's the point they're making. I don't think that's the point they're making. I was thinking their point was like, in practice, belts would not look like that. You would just do one belt over the other. It wouldn't go like into the dirt. You would make a bridge. At which point, that is a different thing than like passing through a mountain. The planets and space platforms are mostly flat. There's cliffs. Cliffs could justifiably be going through the cliff. Actually, no, that's like one of the hardest things you could probably mine through, huh? Okay, that's the wrong kind of thing. It needs to be ice melting. What else do I need? I need an assembler for iron. We need a cargo bay. Should I make this ugly, or should I try to make it like kind of neat looking? Because I don't think I care that much about the time. I could justifiably make it a little prettier. If I move this one tile to the right, can I cut this entirely? I don't like how this looks. I know I shouldn't care about that, but I do. I want to make my base not something... I want to make it something that I'm happy with, you know? That's not too much to ask, right? Be like, yeah, let's sacrifice some time for this. I think I could live with that. Now this middle section can't be fully symmetrical, but it can be decent. So yeah, that looks so much nicer already. And then we need an ammo assembler. We also need cargo bay. Actually, do I need a cargo bay? Yeah, I probably need a cargo bay initially. It's like it can probably just go there. I don't know how many cargo bays I need, but I can kind of just put it wherever. And then we need an assembler and a collector. Now those are a little bit trickier to do. Am I missing something? Turrets. I'm missing turrets. Those are important. There's not a great spot I can put the assembler without making it a lot wider. I could make those there. That looks okay to me. Oh, we need a... Actually, do I need a crusher? Yes, I need a crusher for fuel. Now the crusher, I can move this down. And we could put a crusher here. It can't have an input, though. Which kind of defeats the purpose of having, you know, a machine if you can't input from it. I mean, technically, you could just hand feed everything, but this should be automated at some point, so I don't really want to do that. Yeah, that's symmetrical so far. Nice and pretty. We could give it, like, wings. I don't think I need collectors on the... I might need collectors on the back in any percent resources. But we definitely only need one assembler. Which we can't place there because we left a gap, but that's okay. But yeah, we don't need as many crushers or any smelters, really. It might be worth it to do one smelter just so I can run a little bit better, but it's not strictly necessary. But we could do like one furnace and then 3 crushers. Because this has that symmetry look to it. Okay, so that we can live with. What am I missing now? Asteroid collectors. I have not done the asteroid collectors. Ooh, how do I want to do the asteroid collectors, actually? Because passing asteroid collectors through here is actually quite bad. It's good to avoid it if we can. Yeah, the odd width of the chemical plants is rough. What about, isn't there another chemical plant? The cryo plant? Could you use that instead? Oh, that's also odd. Okay, so there's just no solution. They should have made a 4x4 chemical plant specifically for for space age, just so it would look nicer. I wonder if I make this a little bit farther, or maybe here, because it would be very nice. What if these get moved? Because it would be super nice to not have to put these on the belts ever. Oh no, that's not gonna work. Or sorry, to only have to put them on the belt. I would like to not have to pass stuff into the silo. Or pass chunks through to the silo. Oh no. Wait. No, wait, this should be symmetrical. I just messed it up. There we go. A 7, yeah. Yeah, I don't get why it's limited to that size. I guess in some ways 2x2, or in some ways odd numbers are easier to be symmetrical, and in some ways even numbers are easier to make symmetrical. So I imagine that's tricky. We have all the crushers we need. Just in case we need iron, we can get it that way, and then we don't have spots for cargo bays though. What if I go... Wait, I have an idea. I think. Now, I'm realizing now that we haven't thought about where to put ammo with this design, so maybe I shouldn't be excited that I have an idea when I haven't made anything that even remotely works. Also, is that new? If you fill your inventory in editor mode, it just drops stuff on the ground, which I feel like didn't used to be possible. But yeah, we could do a crusher here and here. Then maybe like one gun turret is enough. What's the range of a gun turret? It's probably not enough, but it could be. Oh, but now we don't have spots for crushers. I could do the crushing behind. What's wrong with just 2 or 4 chem plants sent around the hub? Why would the hub have to be odd sized if it can be surrounded with storage that is aligned to 2x2 grid? Well, you could also just remove the storage to not be on a 2x2 grid either. It could be like 3x3. Like, there are other options. Like, there's obviously multiple ways to make it reasonable, but... Or to get around it. And they all have their merits. It's just... I think, I've noticed that a lot of people are bothered by the odd number. Because most of the machines are odd numbers, right? What about foundries? Are these odd? Yeah, like most of the machines you use are odd numbers in this game, so it's weird that the central hub and the storage are odd. I guess these are even. Or these are even and these are even. Rocket turrets aren't. What about what are railguns? Are railguns 3x2 or 2x2? 3x3. It's 3x5, okay. So what... Crushers are both. Crushers are both. So that part I like. Maybe we just need more rectangles in Vectorio. That's what we're really missing. Can I just crush directly here? Like, is this a reasonable option? It is, right? Oh, that's rough. But I think this is reasonable. Like, who needs who needs backups, right? It would actually look like this, I think. Oh wait, this doesn't work because now I can't do an output. I think it works sideways. It just doesn't work this way. Okay. So this would go like here, and then this would go here probably. But yeah, I don't think any of them are wrong. I think there's reasons for it to be even. There's also plenty of arguments for it to be raw, to be odd. It just there's never really been. I guess rail stations also had that issue, but it didn't feel as egregious to make an asymmetrical rail as it was to make an asymmetrical spaceship. Yeah, the advantage of doing this is it gives us undergrounds we can use here, and then the asteroid collectors can just grab and put directly on that belt, which I don't know if that's a good design, but it is something we can do. This is so slow. This is not a good design. Just put it. I think I can put it. Oh yeah, no, this is a terrible ship. I'm pretty confident in that now that I built it. This would be a little bit better, but not by a lot. But it is technically better. Because then I can get rid of this gap. Unless we can do something with the gap, but I don't think we need it. I mean, it still looks very asymmetrical. And it didn't help that I staggered these two, but I kind of like it. So one of these would be... This one would be carbon. This one would be ice. This one would be iron. Oh, you know what? We should leave the gap. Because if we leave the gap, that allows us to switch to the better processing later, doesn't it? Because we're not planning to use anything for crafting components. Yeah, it would be quite nice. If we churn the crushers, we can't actually fit it. So it makes it even, but then it doesn't function. So it wasn't a good trade-off. Because we need to have two inputs in and output here. But yeah, that was my first thought because it looked really nice and I just could not get the inserters. Now I could get the inserters if I made it taller as well though, so that is something we could do. If we made it 2 tiles taller, we could make them vertical. I guess this doesn't really slow down the ship by being there, it just looks awful. We can use the hub, but I'm trying to avoid using the hub. Because asteroids do not pack very well on the hub, they do pack very well on belts. So the idea here is that we can use the hub's entire inventory space. And yeah, it is a relatively symmetric design. As good as we can get, at least. Which, I mean, we did do for almost all of our designs in casual play. But yeah, I think the ship design in general would be bad if I was aiming for like the best time. See, you built a deliberately asymmetrical one because that seemed to work better with the thruster's pipe input locations. Did you see you saw my pipe inputs, right? I used the cursed, oh, what's the word? Sushi? Yeah, I used a sushi pipe. Symmetric. Oh, this has nothing to do with being a speedrun. Symmetric is not easier. This is way slower. The designs I've seen are very, very asymmetric, and they have like engines off to the side, like this, and then like a cargo bay just like right here, or like making a circle here. They are very, very ugly. Not symmetric. Oh, wait. Wait. No, I totally have an idea. Okay. Yeah, that might work. So here's the idea, right? If we swap this over to use calcite production, all we have to do is add one input inserter. So this can be converted to use more efficient fuel pretty easily by just adding this. And then we replace this one with a calcite assembler. And everything still works flawlessly, I think. Assuming we don't need to supplement with regular ice. But if we ever need to do that, we do technically have this spot here, which we could probably make work if we needed to. I don't know how, but I feel like we could make it work. Yeah, we use the sushi pipe. Let's see if we should still have it, right? I was really happy with it. It should be this one? Yeah. This is how it worked. It's a little bit finicky, but I was very happy with it. It was fantastic. It runs at like 50% of the speed it normally should because the way sushi pipe distribution works, you're very, very limited with how much fuel can go in, especially since it only runs for like half of the time you set it up for because it spends so much time emptying itself. But it worked okay. And because it did run at half the speed, it did mean that it was pretty fuel efficient actually. Not as good as if you were regulating it with like a constant speed from a pump, but you know, it did end up saving a lot of fuel by being slower. But I think this design works, right? And then we would need a combinator here and maybe an arithmetic. I don't know. I might be able to make it work without the arithmetic. I know it's not that hard to set up. I just find it incredibly annoying. And I'm not sure what the legitimacy of keeping an Excel spreadsheet with a bunch of numbers copied would be. You didn't think that would actually work? Yeah, apparently if you just force it through one of the sides, it will make it out the other side if the input is full. Feel like it shouldn't work, but it does. Factorio tends to handle outputs really weirdly, so I guess I'm not that surprised. But yeah, it seems to struggle with outputs sometimes. Okay. There we go. It kind of looks like a top right now, or like a little person in a dress. Like you see the little arms, you see the little skirt. Wait, what works? This. This is sushi pipe, or I heard someone call it smoothie pipe before, which is actually really good because it's just like a blend of liquids thrown in together. But yeah, this is smoothie pipe, and it just cycles between the two fluids and just kind of forces it through one side. So like this gets forced through here, which gets forced out here. You can actually, you don't need the gap. I just thought it looked better with my design. I like the stagger. But yeah, the inputs and outputs, they're only suggestions or guidelines, one might say. It's like, what, it's like the pirate code kind of thing. The fluid code. The inputs are just suggestions. Also, I think this is all I need in terms of inserters here. These obviously need efficiency modules. Not that many of them, but they do need them. Am I still in map view? There we go. I was wondering why I cannot make that work. Does it work with other buildings as well? Kind of. The thing that I think makes it break is the fact that it's two directional. Because generally speaking, if the input is the same or like the output is same, you can pass stuff through going the same direction. I haven't tried it with like plasma or anything like that. Oh, plasma's weird. I don't think you can put that through a pipe. So I guess that's not a good example. But Factorio handles like inputs and outputs that are shared, or that are the same direction a little bit weirdly. So what you can do is you can like pass water from one side to the other by passing it like through the machine. So I'm assuming it's that mechanic that's kind of causing the problem. Yeah, it forces you to, it makes it a little bit harder. It feels like one of the most controversial decisions they made, but a lot of people don't seem to like it. But yeah, it doesn't do anything now, but if I set it to say, what consumes water in two spots? Sulfuric acid. Wait, did they fix that? They might have fixed that. Or was it the outputs that were shared? Did they fix it? No, they didn't fix that, did they? Okay, so what's causing the thruster story? I figured it was the same mechanic. Well, it used to be that you could pass these through each other. It was used in, I think, Anti-Elite's 100% power plant. Also, that's an X. I don't know why I made an X, but it seemed nice. That's sad that this doesn't work. Oh, you need pumps for it to work? You didn't used to. Do you need pumps for it to work now? I mean, you need pumps to make it work in a beneficial way. But I don't think pumps are ever required functionally, though. Four-legged spider? Or that monstrosity from Gleva? Wait, why... why does something look like a spider if it has only 4 legs? I feel like the amount of legs is so important to this. Now I'm curious. Because I can't reproduce this. I swear it exists. I swear I'm not making this up. Let's load up 1.1 real quick. You might hear 2 versions of the soundtrack, I'm not sure. Am I making stuff up? I could be making stuff up. I feel like this lie would not get a ton out of. I feel like if I'm gonna say cursed knowledge, it's gonna be something related to like burner obscurity, not fluids, which I cannot claim I understand. Okay, let's see if this is real, chat. I feel like it's not. Also, what am I missing? Guns. I'm missing guns. Those are important. Yeah. It was definitely used. I'm just questioning everything now. You have seen one pipeline refinery set up weeks ago. I mean, we've made some cursed. We have some cursed pipe refinery things. Yeah, it was used in turnarounds because I think the benefit of it is it has twice the throughput of a pipe or something. Because it has an internal buffer that's twice. That's part of it, right? Or is it to just save tanks? Okay, let's see. Let's see if I made this up. or see if we can reproduce it. Because I'm so confused right now. Okay, let's switch screens too. It was used to churn. Oh, right. The boilers are the ones that are throughput thing. Boilers were the throughput problem. If you need to go 3 tiles at higher throughput. It's because it's not powered? Does it need to actually work for it to be possible? What am I... Why did it switch back? Sorry. I did switch the screen, but it switched back immediately. This is back in 1.1. I wonder if I've only ever gotten to work on recipe changes. Because, like, I've definitely... I don't use pumps very often. So maybe there's just, like, recipe swapping can make it work without pumps. But it doesn't seem like it... I can't get it to work in 2.0, so maybe it just doesn't work in 2.0. Ah, okay. That explains it. Wait, do you even need a recipe? You do need a recipe. Okay. Okay. I feel validated now. It does work without pumps, but it doesn't seem like it works continuously without pumps. So it is something I have seen without having pumps, but I never used it, so I didn't realize it was sustained. It just worked enough to make it that I couldn't change recipes over map view. Okay, low-level mystery solved. That's been bothering me for like 5 minutes. not that long. Let's see. You started after the new fluid mechanic seems terrible dealing with whatever was going on before. The old 100% power had upwards of 2,400 pumps. Yeah, even my burner one had like 500. But yeah, I would say from a casual standpoint, unless you're making a mega base, the old fluid system was superior for the most part. Like, I think if you're not absolutely maxing the throughput of a pipe, the old system was a lot easier to work with. You generally didn't run into throughput problems outside of maybe nuclear power, or if you're like ultra beaconing stuff. But if you were just beating the game and not making like any like late game large base, the old system was easier to work with. Nowadays, because now you have to use pumps if you want to go longer distances. Before, you could just accept that your throughput was got to be 600, which for many purposes that's enough. But if you need high throughput, the new system is so much nicer. So much nicer. Yeah, I think we can just put gun turrets here and then cargos in the center. Because who doesn't want to defend... Who doesn't want to have the cargo bay as the front of the base? Okay, well, we don't need to worry about that. Is this... okay, how's this one look? Let's see. Can't build on empty space. There we go. You know what? 4 gun turrets might be enough. I cannot figure out what to do with the other wing to make it symmetrical. Ooh, wait, I know what we can do. Okay, we'll put that there. We'll put this here. Then we'll give it a little base. Let's see what this looks like. Now we can see if we can add pictures or make it a little bit prettier. But this actually has like a little rocket shape, you know? You still hate that you cannot put stuff out of cargo bays. I think it is a very, very good decision they made. I'm not saying it's not annoying, but I think that is a very good decision. Because otherwise, spaceship designing would be the most incredibly boring thing in the world. Because everything would have direct access to full speed, no throughput problems everywhere. Also, I imagine performance-wise, that would be really bad really fast. Main issue is that input-output of buildings is restricted to 6K per second. I don't know if that's a big issue. I mean, it is an issue if you have, like, legendary speeds and legendary buildings, but that's so much fluid transfer. Like, it's still a huge step over what would have been possible in the old game. So I think it's worth it. Right? I mean, it exists, but how much of an issue, like, is it? I don't know, it doesn't seem that bad to me. But it is weird that it can't output that fast. That is a bit odd. I guess can you beacon these enough to matter? I don't know. I've only seen someone complain about it in one scenario where they had like a bunch of legendary everything surrounding one iron assembler, and the only downside was it ran at 80% speed. There's still unresolved issues with recipes that output insane amounts of fluids. There's no reason for it other than big numbers go burr. Yeah, I guess might be easier to balance the numbers because you have more zeros to work with, possibly. But yeah, I get what you mean. Also, I like the look of this. Should we give it wings? What should we get on it? What should we add to it to get power? Maybe this. Hello, Rory. Hello, Sky Asylum. Welcome, welcome. Or Elysium. Asylum. Elysium. Very, very different words. But yeah, I could see these being annoying large scale. I think they seem less annoying than the old system. But maybe it's not. I don't make that large of bases. For the size of the bases I make, like medium-sized large bases for like 100% stuff, it's huge. Oh, that looks like a person. Does anybody else see like a little ballerina? Because like, you know, they have like a little dress and then they have their feet are together and they're like spinning. I kind of see it. It's not a long thin rocket, so that's something. But this is a little bit better. That might still work. I don't know how many solar panels I need. Also, should I get accumulators? I feel like I should get accumulators. Darwinia, I did not like that game, so that never was the first thing I went with. I couldn't understand it, actually. It seemed neat, but I did not understand what was happening at all. Looks like the spinning Cinderella flying toy that flew into the fireplace. I don't think I know what video you're talking about, but I could see it. If we cut that, it definitely works as a head, right? Oh, wait. If we use a long inserter here, it does make it worse, but I think we can get more of a neck. That's worth it, right? Because now this goes longer before becoming a head. Yeah, there we go. That's what we're talking. Now we're talking. I don't actually think that looks more like a head, but it kind of does. Oh, wait. No, the way the generation here works, it kind of complicates things. Maybe I just want shoulders. You beat it and immediately forgot what it was about. Those are fun games. I have a lot of games like that, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like some games are just like good in the moment, but I don't think about them very often. Yeah, every spaceship scene needs wings. Although if I want them to look like wings, maybe I just do one of them. Make them slowly flap. It just automatically deconstructs stuff as we go. It was about computer viruses and stuff. It's a weird game to be sure. It reminded me of, what was the game? Populous, but with like a computer virus. Also, I did not set this up properly. But I think that's fine. So if we do... We need a combinator. Oh, we already have those set up. We just haven't built them. Okay. The real question is, does this get enough on it? I don't know if it does. So this would be output ice. No, chunks. They're not called ice chunks. This outputs iron chunks. Now these ones we need to clear, so these don't have any limit on them. And then this is reading all from the belt, and we want this to be multiplied by... That is set up wrong. There we go. That's better. Visually, this is very confusing. I don't like that. It makes it look like it's wrong, so we're gonna build it a little bit differently. Funny thing, people who made Darwinia made Prison Architect, two completely different games. They have the same perspective. I don't know if I'm a good person to give advice on that. My quality designs were really, really bad. But I starting from the ground up, like ore and up, seems to be a lot less wasteful. But if you don't care about waste, just scrapping stuff of any level and rebuilding it will get you what you need eventually. So that's always an option. But otherwise, you start with as low as you can go, like at the ore level if possible. Really helps. And then you upcycle it in recyclers when it doesn't get the step you need, get what you need. Now it's easier to recycle the ore, but it's less efficient. So you want to go at the first step of the chain that feels like cheap is what I did. It's like I would produce ore. I mean, in the one build that I had designed this way, I would produce the ore, and then all of the ore got processed and smelted. And then if it didn't produce the quality, I would recycle it after I crafted that ore into like a gear. Because you want it to go through as many steps as possible to skip to legendary before you scrap it. But then if I got to a recipe, like, I wouldn't go from iron to, like, what's an expensive iron recipe? That's a bad example. Most things do not take much iron. I would get it, like, all the way to, like, circuits, but, like, LDS. I feel like if plastic's hard to get, you would want to recycle the steel early instead of recycling the LDS. So that way you don't waste as much plastic. If one of the steps in the chain is expensive, but there's a lot of ways to approach it. Scrapping at the highest level is easiest, but also very wasteful. But if you just need a little bit of quality, that's a really good way to do it. Some of the best combos use productivity make something that uses a lot than quality recycle. Yeah, there's like arguments made, especially anything that has an infinite research. Just scrapping it after you build it, when you build it with 300% productivity bonus, means it's better to do prod mod in an assembler than it is to actually prod mod the or than it is to quality module it. But that's mostly applicable at like really high productivity. But yeah, that's always a valid option too, especially for these things or anything with I think anything with 8 module slots, you can get 300% quality in it, or productivity in it, which might only apply to the final science. I wouldn't necessarily say avoid recycling materials that recycle themselves. There's some benefit to that. Like if the material recycles to himself and it's very cheap, you might as well, because it's really easy to set up. Because I find that's a great way to get a boost of quality for something that is, you know, effectively free. Like ice. Or like solid fuel. Solid fuel depends if you have any percent settings go, but I feel like ice is pretty cheap. Yeah, we're making a ship that looks like a ship, kind of. Although it also kind of looks like a ballerina to me. I also don't know if it works. So there's a lot of Yo, thank you. I removed. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because I'm about to delete it. But there's a lot of this might not even work, so I shouldn't get attached to it going on. But yes, actually, wait. Do I even need this furnace here? No, I don't. Well, I have the solution, Deacon. We don't need that inserter at all because we're not passing iron through that way. It's supposed to go like this. There we go. Much better. Right? Because it depends. If the goal is to get rid of excess material, then just recycling it. Well, I just mean like, if you're trying to go for something that's quality, recycling it into itself, sure, you don't have that extra step of being able to upcycle it again, but if it's really cheap, you can recycle it that way really, really fast and just get it done with. And I think it's important to acknowledge like simplicity in that kind of design. Because like it does matter if you're talking like the best way to do it. Simplicity is important. Like that's some definition of best. Like you're recycling. We recycled uranium ore into uranium ore. Was it wasteful? Yes. But was it fast? Yes, it was very fast and it was very easy to set up. I wonder if this even functions. No, because this is backwards. Let's see. If you have iron plates, you craft gears first, then recycle. It'll be more productive per plate. Yeah, if you're going to recycle something, you want to do it at like the highest tier that you can reasonably afford. Or like after you craft it. So like, if you needed gears for high quality, you could either recycle the gears back into iron, or you can craft the legendary belt out of it and then recycle it from there if you need legendary belts. Because that gives you more chances to skip immediately to the tier you want before you start scrapping it. It gives you that extra roll. But if iron is super cheap, like say on Fulgora or Volcanus, I would just say scrap the iron and skip the step. Well, I guess in that case, you're also getting, you can just cast the gears. But casting the iron and then upcycling it is a little, and then crafting it is technically easier. But you could just skip the step. Or sorry, technically better, but skipping a step is also nice. Oh, that is always nice, recycling speed. Like if you're just trying to avoid concrete, turning it into hazard is really cool. You know, this doesn't have a huge internal buffer, which could be a problem. Yeah, I guess Volcanus was a bad example for that, though. I should have picked a different one. Okay, this is not working, is it? No, it is. No, it's not. Is it? Input signals, it doesn't have... These aren't filtered. Oh. I wonder why they're not filtered. Yeah, this could work. Oh yeah, plus there's prod modules. Yeah, there's the strats. If you get a high enough productivity bonus, just getting more prod bonuses seems to be worth it, which is cool. Is there like a break even for that? Like obviously once you get it to 300%, there's no real question there. But is it better before 300%? Or does it depend on the resource? Casting underground pipe is great for quality iron. You can turn molten iron into high quality iron with 50% productivity. Oh, wait, why does starting at under pipe help? Is that somehow better than just getting the 50% productivity before gears or something? Foundries are fantastic. Also, we're going to disable this because that might be causing some problems. This has gone no water. Oh. Never mind. Okay, let's see if it can actually make a trip. We're going to spawn 1,000 ammo because that's how it's designed to run. And we're going to see if it can make it to any planet, really. Because that's kind of the important thing. Can it make it to a planet? Let's go to Gleva. Also, how fast it goes. 110. Do we have any damage upgrades? We do have... Yeah, we have a lot of them, darn it. But it doesn't look like we're... It looks like we have some excess. We should be fine. Should you do plastic on Gleba? Seems like the most productive recipe. You could do plastic... I've heard different... there's a lot of different... I feel like ways you could do plastic. Plastic in space, I think, is one of the easiest to get legendary for. It's not high. You can't get a lot of it, but you can get a high quality plastic in space. Is one option. Gleba seems nice. Some people seem to like Gleba for quality stuff. Let's see, e.g., rare pipes as input gets you rare underground pipes, and oh, so you get just I see. I think that makes sense. Forgot that the pipes are also there. Well, this did make it. I imagine it can't idle, but I can put a turret. We can move this down again. I like how I keep just making this a little bit shorter every single time. Or a little bit lower down every single time, because like, oh, I need another gap here. Oh wait, this doesn't actually work. Darn it. Okay, it was at its limit earlier. And of course, it decides it doesn't like editor mode. I don't understand it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong to make this so inconsistent. But sometimes it replaces stuff and sometimes it doesn't. But it's fine. Somehow that did not keep the logic, though. Should be good now. Okay, so this would not safely be able to idle. So we could do a turret here, maybe? That's pretty close. This covers most of it. This would probably work. It does lose the symmetry, though. So we could do one on each side. Yeah, this would work. It's not worst. You can do that trick with LDS too, but you need quality plastic first. LDS has the advantage that it has infinite productivity. Well, up to not it has an infinite productivity. So that one, if you can get a really high prod bonus for LDS, just crafting LDS and recycling it, and then crafting LDS with only quality modules in the recycling step is going to get you quality plastic with, I think, 0% loss. I'm pretty sure just straight up zero loss if you can get it up to 300%. And then there's also the Bioflux way, but that terrifies me. I don't understand Gleba enough to want to also deal with spoiling Gleba. Oh yeah, wait, how copper? How do you get copper? How many yeah, actually, how do you get copper? Oh, are you talking about in space? I was thinking we were still talking about foundries. Yeah, that could work. That would make sense. Okay, so this technically covers it. I think we can idle safely. Now, the only issue is this doesn't have a huge internal buffer, so I am worried about making trips to, say... Actually, this would be our cargo ship, so it would go from Gleba... Volcanus... No, Fulgora, Gleba, Volcanus, home. Well, let's test that route. Let's see how it can sustainably fly. Not a kilo. Never a kilo. Fulgora, Gleba, Volcanus, Novice. Okay, I'm assuming it immediately does not work. I think we need a tank for this. Quality fluids would be brutal. Let's see. Recycling quality LDS gets you steel and copper. Oh, okay. So... Okay, that was if you were using LDS to get the free plastic. That makes sense. I was thinking you were getting free steel and copper to put into LDS, but you're getting it out of it. Okay, so yeah, this doesn't work. Because it doesn't have any kind of buffer other than the internal buffer, which I expected. We could do a tank. The only issue is water is a little bit hard to get. But like a tank here is perfectly fine. It fits really nicely. It doesn't make the ship wider. Still kind of has a neat look. Yeah, we need a water tank. How do I get a water tank? Is there any like janky way you can use a tank? Is there any janky spot to fit a tank? Probably not. I mean, it doesn't have to be symmetrical, I guess. That simplifies a lot of things if I just decide that I don't need to build my ship like this. That's always an option. Is it free steel copper outside of Volcanus? If you can get to 300%, it's, I guess, not completely free. It's turning it into legendary with no loss, but I guess not free. Okay, yeah, so this does not have a large enough internal buffer, I think. Because it keeps running out of water. Which does make sense. I feel like one tank is probably fine. Let's try just this, and then maybe we can make it prettier if one tank fixes it. I think that seems reasonable. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of this conversation as like free, as in like doesn't cost anything to make it at all. I was thinking it was about like making free legendary out of basic materials, but I guess that's a bit of a stretch. Yeah, it's a shame you... Well, okay. Can you get concrete, though? You can cast concrete and get legendary iron out of that. Don't know if that would be worth it, but it's something that can be done. Okay, so this ship no longer looks nice, so that is a problem. Starter ship 2. You can move the constant combinator for an underground pipe. If you want the tank below the wing, you can move the combinator. Oh. I see what you mean. Thank you. That looks very nice. Which is very important. Very important in the speedrun. Okay, I mean, we haven't... It can't go that way, but it can go on this side. And then in this case, we might as well give ourselves more power or something. Good catch. Much, much, much nicer. I like this. We'll leave that running. It doesn't actually matter. I don't think we'll have that furnace there. I'm not entirely decided, though. And then we're gonna make a test rocket, actually. We're gonna say keep up to requests 1,000 iron. Actually, no, 2,000 iron. What's one rocket? 2,000, I think. And then you only work if ammo is less than 1,000. I don't know. 1,000 ammo seems fine. Sure. That's a lot of stacks of all this. This is like 30 stacks filled with iron at this point, but I think that's okay. Okay, is there a creative rocket? Is that something that can be done? I'm gonna say no. I could test it with real rockets, actually. Why is it requesting rocket fuel? Yeah, okay, you know what, this is fine. We just need roboports. And then give it some bots as well, I think. Okay. So now that should send stuff to starter ship 2, and apparently with these other planets, I don't know why. Don't know why those are requesting stuff. Okay. So the idea here is that now it can start crafting iron, and we don't actually have to smelt stuff on the planet to save a lot of furnaces. This is just to give it a little bit more production, but honestly, I don't think we need that. We'll probably remove it and replace it with a concrete assembler. Actually, yeah, let's just do that. It's a little bit annoying to set up. But concrete should be produced on the ship, I think. I don't see a great way to get water here, though. I thought I saw a way, but I no longer see the way. We could go around with the water. I don't know. There's probably some options. But we'll leave that there so I'm reminded of what I wanted to do with that. And then whenever we start making rockets... Actually, I don't know if we need to start making rockets. But yeah, concrete packs about 5 times better if you produce it in space. But yeah, we're not getting like any... We're not getting enough water out of this. What's my limiting factor, though? It's just not getting enough ice cubes. Okay. I don't like the look anymore, though. We'll need to fix the look. Because this made it a lot less spaceshipy. But I think we'll have to do that tomorrow. That's it from me today. Hopefully... hopefully I can get this to work. But I think we either just need more coverage, or we just need to accept that ice is going to be a problem. We could also technically send up water barrels. That is a viable option to kickstart it. It's not as terrible as it sounds, but hopefully I have a wonderful evening. Possibly no stream tomorrow. I'll post in my Discord if I do end up... I will post my Discord if I do end up changing that. Or if I do end up streaming. But probably no stream tomorrow, because I think we have lunch plans for the birthday boy. But that's it. See y'all Sunday then, most likely. Peace.